What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost, and we're here for UnScripted episode 111 for your March 15th, 2020. This is a really weird time for this country. I want to come on here, talk about something WWE or AEW related. The biggest news going around right now is that everybody's in this mass panic over a virus. A virus that was started in Wuhan, China, that has spread all over the world, and now no XFL this week. I usually start out, since XFL started, I would come on here and say what I thought of the first two games of the week. Did it for week 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, here we are for week 6, and there is no XFL. MLB suspended their spring training and their first in the opening day. NBA suspended play, NHL suspended play, everything from soccer to hockey, basketball, football, baseball, anything that is a sport outside of horse racing has been suspended. Except for WWE and All Elite Wrestling and the UFC. UFC actually ran a fight card, I believe, yesterday with no audience. On Friday, WWE SmackDown emanated from the Performance Center with no audience. And I'm telling you, that had to be the weirdest experience ever. How they could not have, I don't care if you have 5 on one side, 5 on the other, 5 behind Michael Cole and Triple H. I don't care. Give me somebody to make some fucking crowd noise. You had a packed house 2 nights before, for NXT, just because Rudy Gobert and a couple of other celebrity athletes tested for coronavirus. So we gotta close off everything. And it's gonna make this real interesting because the Tampa officials in Tampa, Florida, where Wrestlemania 36 is supposed to be held, are going to pull the plug on Wrestlemania if Vince McMahon does not. So basically, WrestleMania 36 in Tampa, Florida is not happening this year. It's not happening in Tampa. I don't know where it's going to happen, but it's not happening in Tampa. But the simple fact is, the Tampa authorities are waiting for Vince McMahon to say, hey, we're pulling the plug. Vince McMahon would rather die in his chair than cancel WrestleMania. He would rather be God than cancel WrestleMania. And honestly, I don't think he should. Do I think it needs to be in a stadium this year with 90,000, with 80,000 people? No, because it can't. For the next 30 days, the entire European Union and UK as well, which is 95% of the fan base who comes to WrestleMania, are going to be banned from traveling to the United States until the middle of April. So WrestleMania, even if WrestleMania goes on, there will be hardly anybody in the stands. You know how weird it's going to be watching WrestleMania 36 from Tampa, Florida, with nobody around. You hear the lights come up, you hear the music go off, and there's no fans. Shitbird goes out to face Roman. There's no fans. Drew McIntyre takes on Brock Lesnar. There are no fans. I mean, Friday was weird. And we gotta see this on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. I don't see how WWE can go through I understand why they had to go 100% without fans on Friday. This was literally this was just thrown on them last minute. They had no choice. They had to act fast and do what was best for the company. Now that Saturday's gone by, today's Sunday, they have all of Friday night, all of Saturday morning, and all of Saturday, all of Sunday, and Monday morning to figure out what is the safe way to have some audience participation in the Performance Center for Monday. Because if you're bringing Stone Cold Steve Austin still for 316 Day, if you're bringing The Undertaker for a contract signing with AJ Styles, if you're bringing Brock Lesnar in for something to do with Drew McIntyre, you're not bringing these guys in to be in front of no crowd. There's no way you're going to have Stone Cold Steve Austin show up to the Performance Center and go into that crowd, go into that ring with nobody there. They had to do this on SmackDown. I figured they were going to have to go no audience. But like I said, I don't care if there's 10 people. I don't care if there's 5 people on, like 10 people on each side. And they're spread around, they're spread apart enough, or, because there's enough spaces that you could have 10 people sitting in each side of the crowd, but they're far apart enough that they're not going to be within close contact with each other. You can do that. Then do that. There is no reason to have Monday Night Raw, which is going to be 3 hours, cannot have at least a few of your NXT talents, your doctors. You have doctors there. Have the doctors sit there, and if anybody's feeling ill, you can have them work on them. There's just SmackDown had to happen because of just the circumstances. We're now at least going to have a few days between Raw and SmackDown. SmackDown and Raw. It's time to do something to where we have a little bit of the crowd, because having no crowd is too jarring for WWE. Now for AEW. They are moving the next 2 episodes of their show to Dallas Place in Jacksonville, Florida, which is adjacent or right beside the stadium where the Jacksonville Jaguars play. So it will be interesting to see what happens for them. AEW, it's just AEW does not have as much of a leeway as WWE, because yes, they are still new, but I don't think they own the Dallas Place or the stadium. That might be owned by Florida, by Jacksonville. So if Jacksonville says, "Hey, we want to shut these buildings down before AEW can get to them," then they're going to do that. Unlike WWE, who I believe 100% owns that Performance Center and can do anything they want, and nobody can tell them they can't. So I don't know what's going to happen, but AEW and WWE, as long as they're around and can at least show us something, then it takes a little bit off for us. So I don't know what's going to happen with AEW. I don't know what's going on with Raw, what's going on with NXT. It's just this week is going to be something. This is a crazy time for wrestling and everything. We have so much going on. XFL was in its inaugural season. If this thing blows over and say by the time, because the XFL did say that after the talents get a substantial contract and a legit contract from the CFL or the NFL, they will let those players out of their contract. However, if I read what I read yesterday right, if the XFL still has these players under their contract, if this blows over and say the shutdown and everything is lifted before the championship game, which is at the end of April. If we get to the middle of April, which is when week 9 and 10 happen, we get to the middle of April and it's okay, we can do everything else again. We can go back to the NBA, we can go back to MLS and all this stuff. NHL can do this stuff. XFL could still possibly have 1 or 2 more weeks and then have our playoffs so we can have a legit champion for them. It's a damn shame that all this has happened. It's just a real damn shame. WWE and AEW are pretty much the last things for live television. Impact Wrestling, I believe, is taped up till middle of April, maybe all the way to May. I could be wrong. I don't know when Impact tape lasts. MLW is probably taped for a while. So if you're an MLW fan and you want to watch some professional wrestling, you go to MLW's YouTube page. They just had Tom Lawler versus Killer Cross on that show yesterday. So if you want to check that out, go right ahead. This AEW, WWE have got to stick together. We got to have something. Because if AEW and WWE suspend operation and give us nothing there's nothing left for us as for entertainment, that's gonna make things worse in the long run. the people don't realize, and I went to the store today, and I don't get this. Like, why is everybody buying? Like yesterday, I went to the store as well. But yesterday, I saw this woman have 24 packs of toilet paper in her cart, and I'm like, why do you need so much of that? This is a virus. This is not a nuclear apocalypse. This isn't one of those things where they're running out of stock. I don't get why people are going to this mass hysteria to continue to buy like all the hand sanitizer, all the soap, all the toilet paper, and all this shit, not leaving any for anybody else. If you went and got what you would need for a normal week or so of living, and come back the next say, oh wow, I'm out of this, and go back the next day, and people did the same exact thing, guess what? There would still be stock there. It's not like, oh well, the coronavirus, this virus has hit so hard that the stock we're out of stock in first come first serve. No. But I just, it's just so crazy how everyone's getting in a panic. Everyone's in a panic, and they don't need to be. I hope people do realize this is what the government wants. This is what the people at the powers that be want. They want you in a panic so they can do whatever they want to do and hide whatever they want to hide. It's just funny how things are just... It's just funny how when we're in an election year and something has gone wrong. And it's not because, oh, for the hell of it. No. There's a reason for going like this. I'm not maybe one of those people who sits there and digs into it, but obviously, and of course, China has been one of those people, like the Chinese government's like, oh, the U.S. military did it, which I totally believe. I wish I had something to talk about tonight, because usually I like the last 2 weeks I went over something. I want to go over like the Wrestlemania build and how bad it's been, and how it's just pedestrian at best. The fact that Roman Reigns came out on SmackDown on Friday and did the same exact speech that he did 2 years ago, and the fact that there are people on this, like Roman tweeted quote tweeted about a clip from the SmackDown show saying no truer words have ever been, like, no truer words have ever been spoken or something like that, and people were praising this, and I'm like, how many people on this feed 2 years ago was booing this guy or telling this guy that he sucks? And now you have people, because they feel sorry for him because he beat cancer or he put his cancer in remission. I'm sorry, that's no excuse. WWE is going out there and having Roman Reigns spin the same exact bullshit he did 2 years ago. And the fact that people are now praising what they booed 2 years ago just makes no sense to me. The fact that we took a championship away from a guy who, for years, was the laughing stock of the company, went out of his way to reinvent himself to much success, only to get it taken away from him. It's just pathetic how WWE just wants to go out there and push this guy down our throats again. It's like, oh, we took him away from the championship long enough. And the fact that Roman Reigns did not earn his title shot, but Charlotte Flair did, Shayna Baszler did, and Drew McIntyre did. All three of them had to go through either the Elimination Chamber or the Royal Rumble to win a match, to earn a match at WrestleMania. But before we get to the Elimination Chamber, Roman Reigns comes out and is like, oh, well, I deserve a championship opportunity. I deserve the championship match. Because, as he said on Friday, and he tried to justify this on Friday because, oh, I'm main eventing, I'm main eventing in a small town like Youngstown. I'm main eventing on that show, so I should be able to be in the main event of WrestleMania. It doesn't work like that. That had to be the worst thing. Roman Reigns has got to be counting his lucky stars that they had to be. They were not in front of a crowd on Friday, because if this whole virus thing wasn't happening and we had promo after promo after promo from these two guys going into WrestleMania, people are going to get sick of it. This has got to be the lamest booking I have seen. They did it 2 years ago, and they're doing it again. The only difference is it's not Brock Lesnar, it's Shitberg. And it's going to be the same. Then you have the entire Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair debacle. The fact that you have Charlotte Flair had to win the Royal Rumble. Why did she have to win the Royal Rumble? Out of the two women who are going for a women's championship match going into WrestleMania, which, by the way, we are 3 weeks away from. It is March 15th. In 3 weeks, if it's not canceled or if it's put somewhere else, WrestleMania is going to have Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch. Here's the thing. This could have been done totally different for these two. Charlotte Flair did not need to win the Royal Rumble. It has been painfully obvious that every single week goes by, Charlotte Flair did not need to win the Royal Rumble. Going into the Elimination Chamber, we knew going to win the Elimination Chamber. We knew it was going to be Shayna Baszler, so why give us the match? On top of that, we are 3 weeks away from WrestleMania. Who's WrestleMania? The SmackDown Women's Champion, the championship she won back in, what was it, October? Or September? She hasn't even challenged you yet, and we're 3 weeks out. This could have been the time. If you did this and booked this right, Charlotte Flair could have been eliminated by Shayna Baszler at the Royal Rumble. And I've said it again, and I'll say it again. I said it once, I'll say it again. Then she comes out to Raw the next night, bitching, complaining, for the next few weeks. For the next few weeks, up until the Monday before TakeOver Portland, she is out there bitching and complaining in her own way that she has no match at WrestleMania, and it's not right because she is the queen, she is the main event, she is the greatest woman ever to raise up a pair of boots. And she says, if I can't get a championship match if I can't earn a championship match at WrestleMania, then I'll take matters into my own hands, and that's it. We don't know why. She throws the mic down, she leaves. We don't see her on Wednesday. We don't see her on Tuesday. We see her in Portland. The match between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair goes the exact same way. The attack afterwards goes the exact same way. The wording afterwards is different. I know I'm not Adam Lampierre, and I'm probably not making any sense, but this would have been so much better. She attacks Rhea Ripley from behind and tells her that if I can't win the Rumble and get a championship opportunity, then I'm going. Let me rephrase that. Since I didn't win the Royal Rumble and I can't get a championship opportunity against either Bayley or Becky Lynch, I'm coming back to NXT to take your title. If you're up for it, bitch. Drops the title. She has the title while she's doing this. The challenge was laid down. She leaves. She still can throw Bianca Belair into the stairs, and they can set that match up for NXT on Wednesday the next week, as they did. That could be the same thing. Rhea Ripley shows up for the first time on Monday Night Raw the next night after Portland. She accepts the challenge only if she can beat, and this is how you set up that match, only if you can prove that you even deserve a championship opportunity by beating Bianca Belair this Wednesday on NXT. Then they have the match that they had, the angle afterwards. Maybe Rhea Ripley actually goes down a little bit faster. And then there you go. You set up the match. And she has to earn a championship opportunity instead of just being handed one or demanding one. And then you go from there. But the fact that they decided we're just going to give her a Royal Rumble win definitely damaged WrestleMania build. Because if you give Shayna Baszler the win at the Royal Rumble for the Royal Rumble match, and you go the route like I said for Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, that frees up the Women's Elimination Chamber match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. You would have Sasha Banks versus Nikki Cross versus Alexa Bliss versus Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Lacey Evans. Or you would have Lacey Evans, Sasha Banks, Lacey Evans, Naomi, Mandy Rose, Alexa Bliss, and Sonya Deville and Nikki Cross face off against each other to get that final spot. And the winner of that gets the 6th spot. And then you would have Sasha Banks win the match. And then you start the build between Sasha Banks and Bayley going into WrestleMania. And don't be like, oh, well, Sasha Banks was injured. That's why they didn't. That's why they changed the championship match. That's fucking bullshit. As you saw on Friday, Sasha Banks is just fine. The fact that they would change plans going into WrestleMania for Sasha Banks and Bayley because Sasha Banks was injured for a time is just as asinine as when John Cena was injured going into Hell in a Cell. What was it? 2012? Yeah, 2012. Was injured going into Hell in a Cell in 2012, and they put Ryback in that position because they needed somebody to take on CM Punk. But by the time Hell in a Cell came around, John Cena was healthy enough. They could have put him in that match, but they didn't. But anyway, they just one bad booking mistake and one bad booking decision changed the WrestleMania build. So we're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania. Apparently it's going to be a 6-pack challenge with everybody I just mentioned minus one person plus and Bayley, which I don't want to see a multi-person match for the Women's Championship. We saw that last year for both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. It should be, and it should have been from the start, it should have been Sasha Banks versus Bayley. If the injury happens and you need to do something else, that's fine. You make a change if you know that she's not going to be there. Obviously, it looks like Sasha Banks is going to be just fine going into WrestleMania. And it should, obviously they're not going with Sasha Banks versus Bayley at WrestleMania because if they were, they would have started the build months ago or weeks ago. But again, WWE, if it's not Charlotte Flair and it ain't Becky Lynch, WWE doesn't care. That's why Asuka ended up losing the championship and she didn't get a match at WrestleMania, a singles match at WrestleMania. She got relegated to the Battle Royal. And that's all you have to say about that. The only 2 things right now for WrestleMania that I actually have any interest in is Edge and Randy Orton versus Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I am 50-50ing on Drew McIntyre actually beating Brock. I have a feeling that WWE and Vince McMahon is at a state where he doesn't want, he wants to pull a swerve out because he wants Roman to get all the glory. He doesn't want people talking about, oh, look at Drew McIntyre winning his first major championship. He wants the spotlight to be on Roman. Roman said he's in the main event on Friday, and he has no right being in the main event. Roman should not be in the main event, period. The Universal Championship does not deserve to be in the main event. It opened the show last year. It should be a middle-of-the-show type match, especially when you're going against who you're going against. If Roman was to be in the main event, he should have won the Royal Rumble, but he did not, because you weren't going to do the elimination. You weren't going to have Drew McIntyre win the Elimination Chamber, and people care. It was the right decision to have Drew McIntyre win the Elimination Chamber. So those are the 2 things. And then Edge coming back, as I said before, I'm not a big fan of somebody who's retired coming back just because they want to go on their own terms, which I respect that. I have no problem with you wanting to come back on your own terms. But I don't want somebody like Edge to be coming out here and getting injured and ending up fucking his life up even more. Yes, I know, it builds into the storyline nice. Edge, we get story time with Randy Orton 2 weeks ago, and then we had the whole Edge hitting an RKO on Randy Orton. Which, by the way, if we're going to have continuation of that on Monday, they have to have some kind of crowd. Having Sasha Banks and Bayley playing up to a fictitious crowd, just trying to hype them up or something, playing it up to because they're heels, and then having Nikki Cross stand on the apron and clapping her hands, trying to bring the crowd up to help hype up and get Alexa Bliss going, just looks so awkward and sad. It just, I don't know. It's going to be hard to see WWE pull that off again. But I know, yes, they did do a repeat of the Elimination Chamber for the tag team titles. I don't want them to do another match from the Elimination Chamber. I mean, yes, if they want to show the Women's Elimination Chamber match in full, which, good grief, that match is something I do not want to watch twice. I literally do not want to watch that twice. That match was so bad. So bad. It was so badly booked. Yes, it's exactly how Shayna Baszler should be booked. And I know, oh, blasphemy, how could you say that, blah, 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 blah. But seriously, Shayna Baszler did not need to be in that match. That match did not need to happen. And they're going to try and, if WWE thinks that's only 21 minutes, well, it's 3 hours. I can see doing 25 minutes of SmackDown, which is only 2 hours, dedicated to the Elimination Chamber tag team match. I can see that. But with the fact that the Women's Elimination Chamber is shorter by a long shot, it's 21 minutes exactly, at least that's what it said on the Wikipedia page, but that's neither here nor there. It's going to be like, wow, that's 21 minutes of 3 hours. What are they going to do for the other 2 hours and 40 minutes? Yes, I know commercials are in there, so that's another 20 minutes right there on a night. What are they going to do for the other 2 hours and 20 minutes of TV? We're going to have matches. I mean, if you want to do sit-down interviews, like when they had that snow out in 2015, January 2015, there was the episode of Monday Night Raw that they had to do from Titan Towers because the big huge snow. They had like a huge snow out in New York. They were supposed, or wherever they were at. They were snowed out, so they got stuck in. They had a sit-down interview with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, who were going to go one-on-one at Wrestlemania. This is the first time. And obviously, Roman Reigns was getting... You could tell when they were feeding him lines to try and get him to be liked, which nobody bought. But it was something they did. They sat there and they had sit-down interviews. And it got the time to go by. Yes, it was still 3 hours, but it was like, do some of that. Have Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns, not Roman Reigns, but Drew McIntyre and Paul Heyman do sit-down interviews. Do a face-to-face with Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar. Do a face-to-face with Randy Orton and Edge, or do the picture-in-picture type thing with Randy Orton and Edge. Have Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler face-to-face again, like they did before SummerSlam. I mean, not SummerSlam, but Survivor Series. That was some great fucking television. This, I don't know how they're going to be able to do this. Are they going to show reruns again? What are they going to do if this goes long enough to where they're out of reruns? Are they going to continue to do reruns of the Elimination Chamber? We're going to see the Royal Rumble match again from 2 months ago. Oh, let's show you how Drew McIntyre did survive the Royal Rumble. I don't know what WWE can do that's going to last 3 hours. And then they got to do it for NXT too. Are we gonna get Takeover Portland matches again, which I wouldn't mind seeing again, maybe. I mean, that Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic match, if they want to go back over that again, I'm fine with it, I guess, if you want to watch that. But I just don't know what they're going to do. WWE is in a tough spot here. Not their fault. I don't want to blame WWE. It's like, I commend them for doing something that no other sports wants to do. I mean, yes, everyone else is going to be losing money. AEW is going to be losing money because of this. Anybody, you're going to have zero fans in these crowds. So you're not making money. The only way people are going to make money is if people go to the stores and buy, go online and buy merch. But no one's going to get those ASAP because I don't know how shipping is going for stuff like that. So WWE, AEW, it's going to be a really tough time. All I know is WWE, if they have to postpone WrestleMania and they push it back to like May or June, and they want to suspend operation for 2 months or 3 months or so, which would be a goddamn bummer because it's like, yes, I have my video games. Yes, I have the internet until we get shut off because, people aren't going to be able to work and whatnot or whatever they want to do. It's like WWE, if WWE and AEW had to suspend operation right now, we didn't have anything going on, WWE will be fine. AEW, I don't know what's going to happen with them if it would hurt AEW, but the NBA is losing money. Look at the NBA. They base their NBA, NHL, MLB, and all that base their salaries on how well business was done the previous season. So I guarantee you, especially I know more about the NBA than the other ones. The NBA is going to have such a smaller piece of salary for those who haven't signed contracts. The salary cap is going to be so much smaller next year because of this. Even if they come back at the end of the season and still able to do the playoffs, yes, the playoffs are a big moneymaker, but they still missed at least 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Not going to be good for the NBA. It's not going to be good for the NHL. It's not going to be good for baseball or hockey or NHL, like soccer, NASCAR, everything. So we just have to see what happens. Schools are getting shut down. People I spend time with, like a girl I spend time with, her kids don't go to school right now because we're in Ohio, and you know things are fucking dumb when the governor of your state goes on a news media call or whatever it was, an interview, and says that there's 100,000 cases in your state for this virus, when the overall confirmed cases, he went on to one of these like news things and was like, there was 100,000 confirmed cases in Ohio. And I'm thinking, really? Because I'm pretty sure that's not possible. Unless somehow Ohio or China, Wuhan, China, was renamed Ohio. I don't know where he's getting his information. He really looked like an idiot coming off of this interview that he did. I know I'm blabbering here because I just want to try and I don't know what to do, what to talk about. It's like, I want to talk about the Lance Archer thing. What are they going to do with him and Jake the Snake Roberts? But it's like, well, and here's another thing with AEW that I have to think about. Even if they put those shows on the next 2 weeks, they're still advertising the 6-man tag team match for the advantage in Blood and Guts, which they still plan to do, which is going to now be in Dali's place if they get a chance to. But with a match like Blood and Guts, and what this shit going on, is someone blading or getting busted open, which you know is going to happen in that type of match. You think that's a really good idea right now? Now I'm sure, like, companies like the WWE, like AEW, because of the fact that they're a full contact sport, they are a sport no matter what you want to say, that it's like, I'm sure they do testing. They're going to test the stars before, during, and after shows. So it's not like they're going to sit there and be like, oh, well, we're going to be careless and not test our superstar, not test our wrestlers and not be like as precautionary as possible. But AEW, WWE, I feel for them. I feel for any sport that had to like shut down for now. It's a real bummer for it sucks for the XFL. It really does. Last year, we watched for 8 straight weeks the AAF go out there and give you subpar football as much as they could. And if you look back on it, AAF didn't even come close to how good the XFL is. They went out there and they did everything wrong and still made it to 8 weeks. XFL they do everything that they can right to make sure this is going to be a success. They have committed to a 2021 season, which the guys at Pro Football Talk need to shut the fuck up because they act like they know what the hell they're talking about. Oh, the XFL struggling. The XFL was struggling. No, it wasn't. Oh, the ratings were down. That's why, and the attendance was down. Really? Because if I'm correct, in Week 5, Houston and DC had more in attendance than they did the last time they were there. It's real easy for for attendance to go down a good percentage when your two biggest gates are not at home that week. Like, people are so fucking stupid. They want to sit there and act like they know what the fuck they're talking about because they get paid to talk about sports, which obviously they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because I guarantee you, Pro Football Talk, which is an NBC, a Universal affiliated show, if the XFL was on NBC's, if NBC Universal got the rights to the XFL, they wouldn't say a damn thing negative about it. Why? Because it's their job. I guarantee you, if the XFL ends up folding in 2021 or later this year, which Vince McMahon is not going to allow that to happen. Do you really think Vince McMahon wanted to shut down the XFL and put it in a suspended place because of this virus? No. Vince McMahon would have loved more than anything to have the XFL be the defiant league, be the league that goes out there and shows that they can still play this game. But unlike the WWE, where it's all the McMahons and everything, and it's his baby and stuff, he has a lot more partners with the XFL that he had really no choice but to shut down for now. But it's like you're just sitting there and you're thinking this football league is doing everything right. There are fans showing up. There are 20,000 fans. There's 20-some thousand fans in Seattle. Not Seattle. Yeah, in Seattle. And they opened the bowl for Week 7, which was going to be huge. 30+ thousand fans were going to be at that game. And it's all for nothing. Because some idiots decided that, oh, by the way, we're a government. And China is having this outbreak. Let's bring people who are from our country back to our borders just so they could spread it off. Oh, well, that was a real smart idea. That was the dumbest thing I think I saw was people like, oh, we're going to bring these guys in, we're going to put them in a military base, and we're going to quarantine them. How far did that go? Now you have Rudy Gobert who has to sit there and apologize for being careless because he didn't know he was infected, which obviously was not smart. Yes, Donovan Mitchell got infected too. Which again, I guarantee you, both of those guys have minor cases, and they're not going to be in any danger within the next year. Like when they recover, and then that's all they'll have to be. But the fact that it was a wake up sign for a lot, like if Rudy Gobert doesn't get that infected, and that game goes on and everything, and nobody's infected, we would have been watching the XFL with limited fans. We would have been watching NBA with limited fans. We would have been watching all these other sports with limited fans because, one, sports, we need sports in our life. Life is much better with sports. I mean, look at the Olympics. You have these countries that hate each other will go out there when an Olympic event's going on, and if somebody finishes in a place above them, they go over and they congratulate them. They're like, oh, good job, good job. You'll see people just sit there and support each other because they're out there for the love of the sports. Sports are something that our world needs. And that's why WWE and AEW staying open and doing as best they can to put on shows for us is necessary for us to be able to sit there and get past all of this garbage that we had to deal with. Get past all of this nonsense that we had to deal with. WWE, AEW, if they suspended operations and the only thing that would be left was horse racing, it would just be devastating. UFC, yes, they had a show on Saturday. But UFC is not a weekly thing. They're monthly. No, the next UFC event will probably be after all this blows over. So it won't really matter what happens with the UFC. So it's like, what do we do? Just cope with what we have. Stop panicking. People going out there and panicking because they think that, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Oh my God, we're going to die, blah, 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 blah. It's like, stop it. That's what they want you to do. Instead of listening to the misleading, and like, if you're somebody sitting there watching the news, do not listen to mainstream news. Because all they're going to do is mislead you with lies about what's going on. They want you to believe what they want. They want you to believe what's going to make you panic. The world is going to be fine. Yes, we have this virus going on. Yes, there are people who are dying from it. It's going to happen. People die from the flu every single year. The virus has 145,798 total infected, confirmed. 70,000 of those have recovered. Over 70,000. Here's a little stat for you. As soon as I look it up. I can find the damn thing. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, here's a little stat for you. From October 1st of last year to March 7th of this year, 36,000 people to 51,000 have flu illnesses. 22,000 of those people to 55 have died. That is from the flu. That is way worse than anything we have in this virus that's going on right now. But you don't see the world panicking for the flu. Why? Because there's a vaccine for the flu. Which, by the way, because the flu is also a virus, that vaccine will not always work for the flu. So this is, and by the way, this is in the U.S. In the U.S., 22,000 to 55,000 have died from the flu since October 1st to March 7th, a week ago. That is way more than you will ever see for this problem, this virus that we have right now. Let me pop that back over there. Just got this phone thing the other day, so it's really nice to have. In the US right now, in the little bit of time that we've had it, get this stupid thing to work. $47 people have died. 47 people have died. 1,179 confirmed cases of this virus. 22,000, 56,000, if I'm correct. Did I just say that right? Yeah, 56,000. I really got it again. No, I'm sorry. 51 million. My bad. 51 million. 51 million people in the United States since October have the flu. Have had the flu. And 55,000 have died. Do you think by the time we get to hold on. Do people really think by August that 51 million people in the United States is going to have the flu? I mean, have this virus? No. This thing will tap off. There might be a couple 100,000 that get this. There might be a couple thousand deaths, but that's it. People need to stop panicking. What you should be doing is what you should be doing any time of the year. You know how many times I've gone to a restaurant, how many times I've worked in a fast food joint or something, and somebody comes to work and they just get to work, they don't wash their hands. I don't know where that person's been. Or they're counting money when somebody gives them money for paying for something, and they don't go over and wash their hands. But then they go start handling food. It's like you're going to get somebody sick eventually. It's like you had somebody who was quarantined for this virus right after it was brought back to the United States, which was really stupid for people to do. Really, for the United States, it was really stupid. But they were quarantined, and then they broke out. Here's another thing. If you know, like, if this virus didn't exist, if this virus wasn't a thing, and you're going to your local sporting event, or if you're going to see the XFL, the NBA, or any of these other sporting events, and you're sick as a dog, don't fucking go. It's that simple. Why are people that fucking stupid? Yes, the reason they have to do no fans in these events for WWE or AEW, and if the NBA tried that when it was going to do no fans, they have to do it because fans can be fucking stupid. You'll have somebody there who's got a runny nose and is just going like they're just rubbing their nose in the top, like running their finger back and forth, like and then just rubbing their hands everywhere. That is stupid. If you know you were sick, stay the fuck home or go to the fucking doctors. It's not our fault that this has happened. This is the country's fault, and people need to realize that. If you panic over this, this is what they want you to do. Remember Ebola? When I started working at a gas station in 2014, in November 2014, Ebola was this big, huge thing. Oh my God, it's going to kill the entire world. And then all of a sudden, it was gone. It was gone. No word of it anywhere. What happened? What happened to it? It was a memory that nobody wanted to remember. This is going to be the same thing eventually. People need to realize that you panic over something, you do exactly what they want you to do. It's just so stupid that I go to a store and you see people, like there was a video online yesterday of a woman trying to fight an older woman for another roll of toilet paper, another package of toilet paper, even though she had two in her fucking cart as it is. Just so stupid how everyone's getting. Look at this. In 2016, or 2014, yeah, 28,616 cases of Ebola and only 11,310 deaths. Guess what? We're not even close to that number yet. And people aren't free, and people didn't freak out that much back then. We didn't have the NBA stop. We didn't have the MLB stop. We didn't have NFL stop because the NFL was still going on in November and October of that year. So why is this so much different? Oh, because it came to the United States because our government is fucking stupid, run by an incompetent president as it is. And it's just so bad that I have to see things, go out there and see this. I really wish this was another great week of XFL football. Half week, I should say, because it would be Saturday and Sunday. Half week of XFL football, getting ready for the last two games of the week. Seeing if Houston can stay undefeated. Seeing if LA could keep their playoffs hopes. I'm sorry, was it? No, they didn't. No, Tampa Bay keep their playoff hopes alive. Could we see Dallas make a return to form, or would they end up losing to DC, and so on and so forth? But unfortunately, that didn't happen. We were gonna if the XFL season would have went on this week, Seattle was going to play at home with no fans. And honestly, as you see on Friday, no fans is not good. Honestly, yes, nobody. And here's the thing: Vince McMahon doesn't get this, and I totally see why Vince McMahon doesn't get this. But if Vince McMahon was to pull the plug on Wrestlemania, was pull the plug and suspend wrestling for a while, nobody would think any difference of him. Nobody would sit there and be like, "Oh, he's such a loser for sitting there and like giving in." The NBA is going to lose a lot of money. NHL is going to lose a lot of money. MLB is going to lose a lot of money. XFL is going to lose whatever money they were going to make for this first season. The NASCAR is going to lose money. Every sport out there is going to lose money. And AEW is going to lose money. If you go, like anybody who, like WWE, yes, they have the Performance Center. So it's like they don't have to worry about spending money on renting a building. So that helps them out because they own the building. AEW, I don't know what the status is with the Khan family. I don't know if the Khan family owns Dali's place or not. But all I know is that WWE's got a better shot of being around than AEW, and I'm hoping neither one of these companies, I hope, does not go, well, we have to pull the plug right now because of X, Y, and Z. It just fucking sucks. WWE is just in a spot. WWE and AEW are in a spot where they are our last hope to have something. And it's gonna suck. I'm hoping, like, anything can happen within a week too. We're all talking about doom and gloom here and shit, but this, like, anything can happen in a week. How? Last week it was all like, just make sure you wash your hands. There's no problem here. Monday it was all just wash your hands, nothing else. Everything was going fine in this country until Wednesday. Wednesday changed everything. Wednesday, AEW had their show, NXT had their show, and while watching AEW, I see Rudy Gobert has contracted this virus. And here we are, a few days later, and hell, by Wednesday, things could be going the other way in the positive direction, or things could go much worse. It's up and down right now. But until you see people dying at 2 days, like 20 people dying a day, or 100 people dying a day, there's nothing to fucking worry about. Stop panicking. You make things worse. Panicking does no good. Panicking, fighting over supplies does no good. If you need 3 packs of toilet paper rolls for a virus outbreak, you might want to go to the doctors anyway because you might have problems beyond what can be helped. I don't know what else to say. This is going to be one of those things that hopefully by this time we will have a much better idea of what's going on. Next Wednesday is the episode that's going to be the final match show before we go to AEW Blood and Guts. Will AEW Blood and Guts even happen? Will the Blood and Guts match even happen? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. And I want it to be something that we can sit there and we know. I'm just hoping by the time this goes up and by the time we get to Blood and Guts, by the time we get to Wednesday, things have calmed down a little bit, and then things can go back to a little bit better, but I don't know. The NBA is suspending their operations till at least April, like for at least a month, so beginning of April, which is towards the end of the season anyway. And then I don't know what they're going to do for anyone else. We're in a very different time in our country. It's not our fault, but it's just one of those things that I wish I could be sitting here talking about how I'm excited to see what happens with AEW's Blood and Guts. How bad WWE's build has been for weeks. And I have talked about that a little bit for the build because, quite honestly, how can you not? But is it going to be something? Do I expect us to see Wrestlemania in Tampa? No, I don't. WWE is coming up with a contingency plan, which hopefully will be better than whatever the hell they've been doing. SmackDown, and whatever they're going to do for Raw, because honestly, I just don't want to. I don't want to sit here on Monday Night Raw on Monday night for 3 hours for just silence. Silence. You have a lot of your wrestlers, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, who live in the greater Florida area. Have them all tested. Have them all done, and then have them sit there in the crowd and make some fucking noise. I don't want to sit there. If you can, have them bring their families and just have them all tested over the weekend and then bring them to Monday night. Bring them to Raw. I don't want to see this shit where we only have no crowd. The only person who was in the crowd at all during the night was Bray Wyatt sitting off to the side when he's about ready to make a appearance against John Cena. That was it. We didn't have anybody else in the crowd. You know how weird that was? How just different that was? This entire episode would have been me just repping on the build to WrestleMania and how bad it's been. And how much WWE just needs to get this shit together. Give us a better build to WrestleMania. Why is it like every single year? And yes, most of the time we have a WrestleMania build that's this bad. WrestleMania actually turns out to be pretty damn good. I just don't feel it this year. Like, I don't feel like Vince McMahon is going to be able to give us a good WrestleMania this year. We have, what? 3 weeks again. 3 weeks. I'm hoping that when we get to 114, isn't it? Yeah, 114 or 112, whatever, 113, or whatever the fuck the number is. I'm hoping that we will just be talking about WrestleMania and how bad it's probably going to be and everything else. This just is one of those days that we sit here and we wonder how long will it be until WrestleMania is pulled from Tampa Bay. And that logo that they have is going to be meaningless. All I know is I hope we can figure something out. I can't wait to cover. I would love to cover WrestleMania, and it just be one of those things that we're just looking forward to. It's going to be a badass day, and it's going to be one of those things that we'll be sitting here that night, tired as fuck, past midnight, probably almost to 1 o'clock when WrestleMania comes to an end. So we're going over it, the ups, the downs, the backs and forths, the good booking, the bad booking, what made sense, what didn't make sense, and right now it doesn't look like we're going to do that. I don't think, and here's another thing, I don't think that they're going to do a contingency plan for WrestleMania. You don't book any more matches. What you have right now is enough. I don't think you're going to do WrestleMania in the Performance Center. I think that'd just be a little too much. I don't think Vince McMahon would be too happy about that. And I don't think Tampa Bay would be too happy about that. My question is, if WrestleMania was to be postponed for about, 3 months or so, what does WWE do then? What do you do for these matches that you've already booked? Roman versus Chitberg. You have Brock versus Drew. You have all these other guys and girls who are out there ready to go perform and give you a WrestleMania that will probably be lackluster at best. What do we do? What do we do for the Hall of Fame? Are we going to wait to do that? Like, is the Hall of Fame going to be an online affair this year? What are they going to do? I don't know. And it's just one of those things that's like, they have to make a decision. Vince McMahon has to make a decision ASAP. Because if he doesn't make a decision, it's going to be out of his hands. By this time next week, we're probably going to be talking about what they're going to do for WrestleMania. Where's WrestleMania going to be now? What's the contingency plan, and where we're going to see WrestleMania be taken to. Because right now, WrestleMania looks like it's not going to be in Tampa. Unless a miracle happens within the next few days, WrestleMania 36 will not be in Tampa, Florida on April 5th. It just won't be. The Hall of Fame won't be there. NXT TakeOver won't be there. And so that's another thing. It's like, other than WrestleMania getting canceled or postponed, and it's like WrestleMania is just not WWE. It's every form of wrestling, outside of probably AEW, because I don't think they're going to go there and be around Tampa for that week. But it's like you have Impact Wrestling who's done something with like WrestleCon over the last few years. MLW is there. Ring of Honor is there. New Japan is there. Everybody under the sun, everybody and their brother who wants to try and make a name or get new fans is at Wrestlemania weekend. And now they're not. They're not going to be. Why? Because of this entire mess that has happened. Not for nothing, I will say this too, is that this entire mess of what I want to say was a pandemic just shows how fucking weak our medical is. How unprepared we are. If something legitimately becomes a pandemic to where people are dying threefold every single day, and there's no minor, it's all severe, we're not ready for it. We're not ready for it whatsoever. This is one of those things that coming out of this country will never be the same. Because hopefully in a good way, hopefully there'll be some kind of contingency thing that brings us better Medicare, better things for like a better a medical unit that will be there, just be there and ready, that the president won't shut down because he's a piece of shit. But there's nothing else I can really say. I know I blabbed on, and probably nobody's going to watch this anyway, and I got to fix that up anyway because I do have an Instagram account now. But this is just, it's one of those nights, it's one of those weeks, and it's like, this is one of those things that once WrestleMania gets canceled, that's going to be something to talk about all day, all night. And it's just going to be something that we'll have to talk about. Right now, WrestleMania is not canceled or postponed. Everybody, there's been people calling. There's people calling for Vince McMahon to cancel WrestleMania and to postpone it, and you know he's not going to do that. Other people are going to have to get involved for that to happen. Do I want WrestleMania to get canceled? No. Do I want it to get postponed? No. But it's probably going to happen, and it's nothing we can do about it. Oh, here's some news, though. Hold on, let me see here. New Japan Pro Wrestling, third wave. What is this? Oh, okay. It's a talking segment, so that's nothing. Okay, that's interesting. I will say, though, is that we will at least have one episode of AEW Dark coming this Tuesday, which will have a live audience, which will be fun. So that's going to be something to look forward to. Yeah, but there's really nothing to talk about. There's no there's nothing there's nothing newsworthy. The simple fact is, the world around us is panicking worse than they should be. And what can you do about it? I can't do anything. My hands are tied. Tampa wants to pull the plug. And we'll see what happens. Next week will be interesting to everything. Now, I did listen to Tony Khan's video podcast, like the Unrestricted podcast with Tony Khan, which was obviously taped back in January. It was right after they got their 4-year extension up until 2023. It's a really good listen into who he is and the name of what AEW really could have been called if Tony Khan would have went with his first name, which honestly WBW World's Best Wrestling would have been just a little bit weird. But I hope to have more talk and everything about this and where everything's going to go next Sunday. This week we just don't have anything because WrestleMania being canceled is up in the air. It's going to be. I'm just going to put it this way: unless some miracle happens and this stuff ends right now or this week, WrestleMania will not be happening in Tampa, Florida. It'll be happening somewhere else. If it's happening in Tampa, Florida, it will be happening in 3 or so months. It will not be happening in April. The question we have then, though, what does WWE do in the meantime? But I'm going to get out of here. I've blabbed enough.
hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. Go check out my new Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for what should be a really interesting episode of Monday Night Raw. Hopefully with a small but tiny crowd. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.